From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I claimed the strength and certainty of steel. I aspired to the purity of the blessed machine. Your kind cling to your flesh as if it will not decay and fail you. One day, the cooled biomass that you call a temple will wither, and you'll beg my kind to save you. But I am already saved, for the machine is immortal. Even in death, I serve the Omnissiah.
Magos Dominus Redditus Mechanicus. Hello, this is Vart, here with another Malus Codicium, this time to discuss lore behind one of my favorite Tacticus factions, the Adeptus Mechanicus, humanity's machine-worshipping technopriest. What is the Adeptus Mechanicus? Compared to many other factions that look very similar to each other, looking at you Space Marines, to a newcomer to the 40k universe, the Adeptus Mechanicus is quite easy to recognize. You've got robed figures with mechanical limbs, chanting in robotic voices, surrounded by wires, gears, incense, but everyone in 40k is incense. But beneath the aesthetic is a religion, a very intense one called the Cult Mechanicum, and in order to understand this faction, you only need to understand its holy trinity. First, the machine god, a cosmic spiritual force that embodies all knowledge and perfection. Number 2, the Omnissiah, the physical avatar of the machine god, and many believe this to be the Emperor himself. And number 3, the motive force, the divine energy that powers all life and all machines that may or may not be electricity. To the Mechanicus, every machine has a soul called the machine spirit, and that spirit must be soothed with sacred oils, prayers, rituals, and very strict maintenance. In the 40k universe, if you fail to appease the machine spirit within your bolter gun, it's more likely to jam in the middle of combat. Or for you and me, if we mistreat our toasters, the machine spirit within might actually be offended, could refuse to work, or just burn our toast all the time until we placated with a few Hail Omnissiahs. So other than following strict rituals to make machines happy, what drives the Adeptus Mechanicus? And what drives it is the great belief that all knowledge already exists, and this is one of the more important ideas for new fans. The Adeptus Mechanicus believes that all knowledge already exists in the world. Humanity doesn't invent things, it rediscovers the divine wisdom that the machine god placed in the universe. So, building a new weapon from scratch? Heresy. Recovering ancient technology from a ruined planet? Sacred duty. Trying to innovate? Very suspicious, likely heretic. This is why Belisarius Cawl is such a controversial figure. Even though he has possibly saved the Imperium by introducing Primaris Marines, bringing Reboot Gilliman of the Ultramarines out of stasis, by all rights, he is a heretic. He ought to be executed. He invents amazing new technology, but new is a very dangerous word to the Cult Mechanicum. So, where did the Mechanicus come from? The Adeptus Mechanicus started on Mars, which was colonized early in human history. For a while, Mars and Terra coexisted until the Age of Strife, when warp storms made communication and travel nearly impossible. On Mars, civil war emerged and was waged recklessly until the terraformed planet was rendered a wasteland again, and the population was forced to retreat underground. The Cult Mechanicum was the winner of the conflict, and the ones who made popular the cult of the machine god. For the next few millennia, the Mechanicum ruled with a steel fist until the Treaty of Mars in the 31st millennium, when the Emperor forged a treaty with the Tech Priest. He did so by healing a wound on the knee joint of a Martian mechanical knight. This wound was previously unrepairable, but by laying hands on it, many Tech Priests declared him the Omnissiah, and they agreed to become an ally of Terra and build the armies the Omnissiah needed for his great crusade. Now, we can fast forward again to the modern 40k. Okay, so who runs the Mechanicus? Most people use the word tech priest as a catch-all term, but inside the Mechanicus, things are incredibly structured, like a machine, and everyone is a cog. Each Forge world, which is a world that is run by Adeptus Mechanicus, it is ruled by a fabricator general, and beneath them are distinct holy orders. The Logi, or the Statisticians, these are the prophets of probability. They predict the future through math, which to the Mechanicus is basically divine prophecy. Next, you have the Artisans, the creators of machines and weapons. They design engines, forge armor, and oversee endless armies of servitor. By design, I mean replicate what's already been done, of course. Then you have the genitors, the biological masters. They study flesh, cyborgs, and they even study alien life, always trying to improve living things through machinery. Last is the Magi. This is a term for senior tech priests who specialize in a specific discipline, from biology to weaponry to experimental sciences, which often persist of discovering old sciences that have been lost. At the top of their military hierarchy is the Magus Dominus, or Tech Priest Dominus, a battlefield commander plugged into data streams, controlling armies like a living computer. In Tacticus, this is Vitruvius. So who actually fights for the Adeptus Mechanicus? And this is where we start getting into the Tacticus players here. So we can break this down. First you have the Scutari. These are the foot soldiers, still technically human, though heavily augmented out of free will. That would be highly inefficient. They contain metal limbs, targeting implants, toxic rad weapons, and of course, perfect obedience. Now a veteran Scutari can rise to become a marshal, leading entire cohorts of Scutari. This is Tangita. Another unit are called the Sicarian Ruststalkers. These are fast, agile killers armed with transonic blades, or weapons that vibrate on a molecular level in order to slice through armor like cloth. Their leader is called a Princeps. This is the one who coordinates their movements. This is Ro in Tacticus. There are also Tech Priest Manipuli. These priests can channel the motive force like living batteries. They can overcharge allies' weapons, repair machines mid-battle, boost servo systems, and supercharge bionics. They are the power grid of the battlefield, just as Actus serves for the mechanical team. There are also Cataphron Servitors. These are the heavy units. Now, a basic servitor is a heavily augmented lobotomized human programmed to a singular master or a singular task. A gun servitor carries, well, guns. A Cataphron servitor is a human brain imprisoned in a tank-like chassis, armed with weapons like graviton cannons, plasma guns, flamers, all really big, heavy weapons. As always, there is a human component that's required by Imperial and Adeptus law. In this case, a brain surrounded by machinery that, while technically alive, is slave to the instructions of the tech priest. They're not fully alive, but they're not really dead either. This is Sygex in Tacticus. While this is far from a comprehensive list of their military units, these are the ones that are currently represented in Tacticus. But what do we think could be next for the Adeptus Mechanicus in Tacticus? At this point, the infantry has been well represented, and as much as I'd like the god machines themselves, I think Titans are too much for Tacticus. Now, maybe they could be incorporated as guild projects. Maybe you could fire once in guild wars depending on how many resources are devoted to powering up in between wars. No, I think we are missing the Mechanicus flyers, the Taraxi. Let's attempt the Taraxi Skystalkers. Here is a possible moveset based on their tabletop units. They would of course have the keyword Adeptus Mechanicus, also flying, mechanical, probably unstoppable. Normal attack, physical, 3 hits, range 2. Passive, ride the thermals. At the end of their turn, if not adjacent to an enemy, can choose to move 1 hex. This would reflect their overall agility and give them really unmatched movement potential. Their main ability, perhaps something like gain infiltrate, move up to 3 hexes and get a free normal attack at the target, but you must land adjacent to the target. I think this would be an interesting unit, probably not great synergy with the current AdMech team, but could have some fun use in wars with this amount of movement. So, let's sum it all up. Why should you get into the lore of the Adeptus Mechanicus? Because they are a fascinating faction of contradictions. They are scientists who act like priests. They are engineers who worship machinery. They are humans who are keen to stamp out their own humanity. They are guardians of ancient knowledge. No one else knows what they know, but they're terrified of new ideas. To them, they believe that salvation lies not in flesh, but in steel. So, whether you're fascinated by their theology, intrigued by their technology, or just love the look of robed cyborg priest chanting over glowing machines, or the idea that your toaster may secretly hate you and burn your toast on purpose, The Adeptus Mechanicus is one of the most iconic, flavorful, and pretty weird factions in Warhammer. And just remember,
The flesh is weak, the machine endures.
join me next time as we crack open another page of the Malus Codicium. If there's a faction you'd like me to cover next, please leave a comment below and let us know on Discord. We'll see you there.